Kembo na Tata nZambi ya Mazulu, Kimfumo Kyakuisa, Zambi Mawesha, Zambi Akabenesha, Zambi Monene, Zambi Zola, Zambi Kembo, Zambi Kulu Kulu, Modimo Sunini ni Samala, Yange Izoli Ibiluka. By all praises, we give honor, Lukumu, to all the Banabetu, Visaile, and non-Banabetu that have come to the understanding of the times that we are in, to return to the ways of Tatanzambi and Pungo Tulendo in spirit and in truth, the God of the Abana Saka Yakubi Isaiele. For those who want to argue about who the 12 tribes are, let them argue. We see Yisu as a Mukongo, and we're going to stand on it. And we're going to continue to fight for the Most High Tatanzambi. And my job is to make sure that I'm not going to follow any imposters, because Fumi Yesu Kristo Kusa Kongo is the only one who is not a hypocrite. If you want to keep listening to the Simon the Sorcerer guy, and no matter what color he comes in, no matter what he looks like, that's your choice. Because I'm not going to pray to the Black Panther who turned snow leopard, telling me he's the Most High's chosen person. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about Tammuz, who was black, and Nimrod, who was black, but received the curse of leprosy like Cain. And I'm not going to continue to listen to the Wizard of Ashkenaz, because that's what the Oz, they cut it off because it's the Wizard of Ashkenaz, who is Jacob or Nergal or whatever Egyptian gods people want to pray to. Monokele Umpanda, Monokele Muntu, because the time of Amun Ra is over. And if people don't understand that this is who you're praying to, you're about to find out, because everything's about to go crazy in the fact that you're going to find out the Canaanite gods have fooled the whole world. Okay? If you don't think you're praying to the Canaanite gods, that's your choice. The problem is, I know that many two people are bound to Yaflamaze. They're worshiping that cube that's on the forehead of many of these people. They have told you that they know that they fooled you. They keep saying it over and over that you're a goyim, that you're stupid, that you don't understand, that you've been played. And if the world can't understand that by now, hey, what they're getting ready for, the Passover was 6 months ago. Okay. I know there's people in Africa that have told me they celebrate the Ipasika in the springtime in the sub-Saharan African region, the Kosa, and many other people who know what I'm talking about. And the new year for us was back in September. And there are many people that know that's what they call Rosh Hashanah. We called it something else. Okay. And so, that's the Yiddish speaking Aramaic, Hittites, Jebusites, and Amalekite Ashkenaz. You want to keep believing that they're the 12 tribes, that's your choice. Um, for me, the Kongo language and the Lingala language is also Semitic language that has been hidden from the truth because we have been illegally classified as Hamitic people by the Catholic Church. And this goes all the way back to when they came to Kongo and Totala and forced us to bow down to a false god that we all knew, who knew the truth, that that was Nimrod. But we did it anyway. Okay? You got a lot of elders that say the Bakongo people were matriarchs. That is going back to Canaanite beliefs of the Mesopotamian deception. The Bakongo Benanzami Bena Isolele were, in fact, the chosen people of the Most High God of Truth. And even in Luang Kwadash, that is spoken by the Hebrew Israelites, that is Yiddish and Kikongo mixed together. There's only one language that uses the word Toto. They put it right there in the Wizard of Oz. The only one language that uses the word Toto. And Toto means earth. Okay? Everybody else want to believe what they want to believe. You go right ahead, because the English language comes from the Kikongo language, and they know it. And I'm going to break it all down now, the languages, the differences. And I'm going to wish everybody today, I'm going to say, today, I'm going by the Hanukkah calendar, returning back to the true ways of the Most High Tatanzambi. I am not going to continue to go on the pagan calendars. If people want to think that they have the Bantu calendars from those who are still kind of being deceptive, you be my guest. Because there's many Kemetists out here that are masquerading as the Most High's people. There are many Canaanites that are masquerading. There are Ishmaelites who are masquerading. There are Phoenicians who are masquerading. There are Syrians who are masquerading. There are Ethiopian Hamitic tribes that are masquerading. Everybody wants to be Jacob, but the people who are actually Jacob, Yakubi. And people singing to the Most High, and we're singing in the truth, but then also we're being led by Judas goats. And you're going to find out that everybody's being fooled, okay? Because they just did the month of Nisan. Nisan comes from the Babylonian calendar, point blank, okay? Nisan comes from a Babylonian calendar. If you want to keep thinking the people who celebrated the month of Nisan, and that month was on the Hanukkah calendar, you be my guest. And if you want to keep following people who still want to call Janus the New Year, because all religions actually celebrate, that's why every country celebrates it because they know they're lying to you, then you be my guest. But Janus is not the New Year. You want to be a Roman Catholic, then continue to be a Roman Catholic, but Rome is going to go down now. Because, see, the problem is the Protestants never stopped being Roman Catholics. They just think they did. Okay? The same thing goes for what Tata nZambi was trying to expose because they skipped 10 days. So even this Samwadi that we're celebrating on Saturday, they know it's wrong. And so does the Sunday. If you want to keep going by the Gregorian calendar and think that you're not being lied to, then you be my guest because Pope Gregory is in hell. You better believe it. Okay? I know he's destroyed. Okay? Because the problem is people have heaven and hell. The concept of heaven and hell is totally messed up. Because hell means walking in ignorance, walking in stupidity, and being a cheesehead. That's what hell really means. Because the devil walks the earth, and he got so many names he don't even know. And people want to say every single culture had a name for the devil. Every culture had an evil and a good God and an evil God. You go look at the history. Okay, in Egyptian, it was called Osiris and Anubis. Okay, the problem is these people are playing you. You go to the Canaanite religion, they had a good God and a bad God. El and Hu. Okay, who was the opposite of El in the Canaanite world? Shalim. Okay, you're going to find that. That's where they got Sheol from. But you don't get it. Okay, Shabbat Shalom. That's what they really say when they say Shabbat Shalom. Okay, but you're going to find out they're going to call peace, but peace can only come through those who are not pagans. If you don't think that you're not a pagan, that's on you. Okay? But as for me, I'm not mixing pagan and non-pagan together ever again. I'm not doing that. So I'm going by the way that we did things long time ago. We were never pagans, people. We turned ourselves into pagans by continuing to love other gods, but Tata Mfumu Yahweh Congo, Tata nZambi. Even the Catholic Church has a cartoon mocking Yambe. You don't want to believe us, you're going to soon find out. Okay, I just want to say, because it's about to go down anyway. Okay, Inkisi Yakisi Yabanzo Tenta. Now you see where the word tent comes from. Beto que sitisa mfumo Yesu Kristo mananzambi Nkembo mionsono ku mfumo Yahweh Congo hamasia kele longi. And what I just said, Happy Feast of Tabernacle, we honor Lord Jesus Christ, but we didn't say Jesus Christ because Jesus is really, there was no J before the Protestant church because they took the I and they extended it. Every single Catholic Bible in Latin was written with the letter I. And we knew who Jesus was, which is why we argue with those people all the way going back to the time of Nero. You don't think the Nicolaitans are fooling you? You be my guest. All the praises to the Lord, Yahweh Congo, Yahweh. Okay, I'm going to explain the word Yahweh, and I'm going to see because the algorithm keeps changing because I know who wrote Google, and Google is all part of the deception. Okay, Yahweh, it really means the Most High, the way of the Most High. We didn't say Yah, the W, Yahweh. Okay, when you put Yahweh in the English, it becomes Yahweh in Kikongo. Okay, so you need to understand we know how to say it. And I'm sorry I didn't share my screen. But again, welcome, Kukisi Ambote. We give honor to Tata nZambi and Fumu Yavi Kongo. I'm going to get the song here started in a minute. Uh, I'm actually going to sing instead of playing my normal other intro that I usually do, because we're going to talk about love today, and we're going to expose, because we're all about love. The Banabeta of Isolde was supposed to be the kingdom that's all about love for each other and the truth, Kintwari, togetherness as the 12 Wakanda tribes of Isayele. Banabetu. What has happened through all of our anger, frustration, and deception and everything when Antino Salama built that temple of Moabi, especially, the world has become a different place. This welcomed in converts that now claim something that they want to continue to fight for, because we lost the birthright to Iswe as a nation during the Spanish Portuguese Inquisition. If you want to think the Knights Templars and all those people were teaching the real truth, you be my guest, because I can guarantee you a lot of them aren't where you think they are. If you want to think Saladin and his army and the Islam and all those people were teaching the truth, that's your choice. If you want to think the Ashkenazi Jews emphasize on Ashkenazi Jews are teaching the truth through the Torah, that's your choice. Okay? I'm not here to attack people today. What we're here to do is bring out the understanding that there's no way none of these languages could have been the original language. Because when you hear them, they're going to sound so much alike going back to Kanani. So obviously somebody is lying. Okay? So Ishmael's language, Arabic, could not have existed until he was born. There were 70 languages, then the one tongue, and we're going to look at it today. What was the one language that was spoken during the time when the Tower of Babel was destroyed? There's a reason why they took out the Book of Jasher, because a lot of it focuses on inside of Cassiopea, Africa, and places that they know that they have changed some things. Hold on one second. Sorry, I was doing my Mbote Sambuari candles. They call it menorah. Let's let them call it that, because they know that's where the word menorah comes from. They're just not telling you. So we're going to go into, like I said, Yiddish. I'm going to break it down, where it comes from. It's a Germanic language. And there's a lady who was talking about Portuguese and said, why does Portuguese sound more Russian sounding than Spanish? And we're going to get into the Tarshish. Tarshish was a uh, port where Phoenicians come, and they came and did, and we're going to do the Ukrainian language today. Because you're going to see what we're talking about when we say these people are speaking Eastern European languages. Ukrainian language sounds just like Yiddish. And the Assyrian Aramaic is more Phoenician than the Most High's. They know that Lingala, because I even told a man, I said, you say Toda Rabba, we say Tonda Labi. Oh, I understand what you said. I said, exactly. You say Torah, we say Tula. Okay? People are going to learn this. We said, I'm gonna break it down. Tula, nZambi means the house of God. Okay? So we're going to get into it, and we're going to start talking about some things, because a lot of our people are suffering over a lie, because the melanated people did not come from the curse of Kami. It is a lie. And there have been many scientists, there have been many historians that have said the melanated race, the story that they're telling you is inaccurate. I know who the Neanderthals are, because the concept is this is where Kaina and the curse of Kaina is hiding itself. Okay? And those who come and what happened with Gogo and Magogo. And that's why all of these scientists are being bribed to teach lies in the schools and in the churches and everything. because the reality is the Canaanites, the religion that went to Gog and Magog, and we're going to talk about the language of Magog and Magog. Hopefully, we can get it. Okay. But we're going to show you today everybody is being played by those who continue to put big bucks in people's pockets that really should all belong to the people who are not from the God who wasn't a hypocrite. Okay. Because there's a lot of people on the continent, there's a lot of people around the world that are starting to understand the Kikongo language is everywhere. I can prove it. The English language has Kikongo in it, and you're going to learn this. Because I'm going to show you where the English language really comes from. And you want to keep thinking that this is the pure language of the Most High, you be my guest, when English is not even close to being a pure language. And it was made by the Knights Templars. Okay. Uh, Share the screen. We're going to go to Psalms 51, but I'm reading it in Kikongo. This is where you're going to start to hear some words that even when people who speak Latin, you speak Latin, you're going to hear their language in this language. Okay? Latin does Latin is not an original language. It was made as well. Okay? And you can just look at and you can speak the Hebrew language and see Latin did not all come from that. So there's a reason why it doesn't sound quite the same. But Kikongo language, that's why people came and said, man, this language sounds a lot like Latin. Yeah, because they know. Okay. This is how we said that. We didn't say this is how we said it. Davidi. They know. We said Intinu Davidi. And he was a Mukongo as well. You know, the images are showing you they were melanated people. And because of the destruction that took place in different places around the world to hide the history, there's two different locations for where the Canaanites were. And they're going to keep continuing to lie about it. And why you have Egyptian symbols all over the world, but they want to say, oh, Egypt is here, Egypt is here. Okay. And the whole world is still Egypt. You want to keep being drunk with the wine of Asherah? You be my guest, because that's Lily and that's the whore Babylon. People, when they talk about the whore Babylon, what is her name? Ask any pastor. Or I know they're gonna beat around the bush. It talks about the woman sitting on the beast. That's sitting there with the dressed in purple and this gold and silver. What is her name? And it says all she has the names of blasphemy written on her head. What are those names of blasphemy written on her forehead? What are they? You can't name that as a Christian, as a Muslim, or Judeo. You cannot name those names of blasphemy that's written on the head of the whore of Babylon, especially as a Christian. You are being lied to because you should know almost nearly every one of them if you have the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit knows all the names of blasphemy she goes by. Okay. Wanakumbase, Imana, Imana Vela Masai Setu, Luvuvamu, Yala. Yala is a word that got attached to Arabic, and that was spoken by us before. So you're going to see the word Yala, Imshi, okay, is connected to the language of Ishmael. That's why they keep telling you, call me Ishmael. Where do you think that comes from? All right. Nzambi unsila nuevo, bonso buena wote waku, vinsikisa un tulununu, zami bonso buena enkenda ku wanene. Utoma kun sukijila, lufuma, Loami, and Pejisa, Unsumo, Giami. Now I'm going to tell you the J sound that you have now learned is because we said a J sound with D, so it's Giami, Giami. Okay? That's where you think the J comes from. Kaji, Nsaji, Untulumunu, Zami Ye, Sumo Giami, Jikalanga, Vantidisi, Ami, Ntangu, Zanzonsono. Kwangeye, Kwanzi, Kaka, Yavolele, which is really the name of real Jacob, the one I love. Isolele. Masumu, Yayina, Yena, Yambi, Mumeso. Okay, there's a word in here that says Bambi. I've actually come across it. When I read it, I was like, wait a minute, that's the word Bambi. And it's in the language of Kikongo. Okay, and I'm like, wait, hold up. And I look, as I said, there's a deer, they call it Bambi. There's what they're lying. Technically, it refers to a child. That's where they get the word, that's where the Italians got the word bambino from Bambi, which was a Kikongo word. Okay? Yayina Yena Yambi, Mumeso Maku Mono Yavengi Yo Kiji, Wa Monica. Okay? Monica is people's children name, they name Monica. This is the Kikongo word. Walunungu, Yamambu, this is where the word mambo comes from. Mambo. Maku ye wa vejila mu unkongojolo zaku. Tala, that became Tara. This name, Tala, they changed it to the R, it became Tara, like Terra. Some people have this name. That's how we really say it, Tala. Mumasumu, Yabutuwa ye, Mumasumu, Umbatami, Wangiakila, Tala, Ngeye really means king. I'm going to show you what they did to this word. Take off the N, take off the E, you get the word gay. Okay. Uzolanga, Kejika, Muunguji, and Antima. Tima, they made you think it's an Arabic word. Nope. They got it from us. Ija Undonga, Udwenga, Ungudi. Yeah, because I got a person, I never wrote the name Fatima. And we said Batima. And that was before Ishmael even exists. Pejisa mu Isopi. This is where the word hyssop really came from. We said Isopi. And Ingipiti is the name that became Egypticus. Because that's how we said that woman's name, which was the daughter of Kami. Yeah, you think I know where the so-called Mormons think they get everything from. But they don't get it. That's why they got them running over there to try to mess it all up because we're starting to understand it. You're going to see all the Mormons are going to cry because they've been convinced that black people were always fighting with Lucifer. Lucifer was a melanated angel. He's lying to people. But you believe whatever you want. Okay? Kiji la lutila zampembe mu vembuka. Because even in the scriptures, and you can read it, blonde hair was considered a sign of leprosy. Yep. Ungyambula ya mona kisi ya yangalala bi kabisi biwambemba bia yangalala vengula zizi kiaku mamasumu mami ye vinsikisa tufuma tuami tuatonsono nzambi umpanga untima. You're going to see the word team comes for this. That's why they say you got to be one heartbeat, one team. That means one heart. In our language, that is the Kikongo word. They took the nasal off because remember, Portuguese, they talk about, oh, this nasal sound, nasally, intima. Where do you think it really originated? You're going to find out. Wavijila, ya umpana, umpeve, the word pave, the way, comes from the word impeve, which means spirit. So when you say, I'm going to pave the way, pave is a Kikongo word that's impeve. Yamona yakebijikala. Kundia funani vavzizi kiakuko ye kunkaju jijilani impeve aku yalongo. Longi, I just told you, longi, teacher, is the word long that you now think is a distance. Longi, teacher. Yulazolo. Buna ingina, longa, unchujijila mia mina, nzila zaku, nzila means the way, ibakwa, mia masamu, bana, bana means, they now say bar. We said bana or bena, because the word ben means son. Bena, is what you say, what's up, son? Ben, that's what bena means, son. Bakum, but of course, Benyamin is where Benjamin is short. There was no Ben, it was not Ben, it was an I. First of all, when they first spelled it, Benjamin was spelled with an I in Latin, but it was a Y before that. Benyamin. Bankumuka Kwangeye. Unkula mu unfuka zamenga. nZambi umpulusu. It's another word for heart. It's what you get the Spanish word let's say heart, pulusu, pulso. Okay. Ami bona, ujimi, falumi, luna is another word that you now use for the word moon in Latin, luna. I got a relative with that name, Yimbijila mu diambu dialungu luaku. And fumu, this is how we really said Lord. You look up the word Baal or Baal, it's going to say it means Lord. We did not say Lord. And I can tell you right now, the Yiddish speaking people that call themselves the 12 tribes, they don't say Lord either. In the Aramaic, where's the word Lord? Where is it? They didn't say it, but you saying it now. In Fumu Unsubujila Koba, okay? This is where the word Cuba comes from. Koba, Cuba. That's how we said it. We didn't say Cuba. We said Cuba or Coba. Yeah, it wasn't a Latin word from Spanish. You people are being deceived. Biami Kiji, Naami Unatanga, Unsikulu Aku, Kaji Ngeye, Kuzolanga, and Kailu, Miadisalu Ko, Yavana. Whoa, I'm going to tell you the real reason why they're shutting down everything in Cuba is because they starting to catch on. They starting to wake up and they're trying to stop it. Because the problem is you got to keep everything under the foot under these hypocrites. And that's what they're going to keep trying to do. Yavanawo and Kailu, Miyagioka, Kunyanzukanga, Miyako. And Kailu Uzawanga, Kwan Zambi, Mpeve, Yajikulukwila, Ngeye, Nzambi. Kuna, Tungojila, Ntima, Wanjo Kulukila, Ya Wakaiduko, Vangila Sioni. This is the word we use for Zion, Sioni. We already knew it. They did not teach us this word. We already knew it. Buambote. This is where the Filipinos get the word mabute from. Buambote. But again, see, Yalu Salami. You think we didn't know how to say, okay, but we did, but we also said Mbanza Salama. City of Peace. Mbanza Salama. That's how we said it. Nobody taught us this. We already knew how to say it. Mbanza City Salama. Tungululua Tumbu Twabanza Salama Buna Vewa and Kailu, Mialunu Mgu, Miazulanga and Kailu, Miangioka Ye, Mianvimba Buna and Gomba, Gom, Ba, Gom, Zambakala, Zina Yokwa, Va Salu Dioku. The word yoke means snake. In Yoka Kilanga Ya Ideni, that's how we said the garden snake. In Yoka. Nyoka became yoke. So when you become yoked, it means that you are now attached to the snake. That's why everybody out here getting the snake eyes and don't even know that they're being hypnotized by the hypocrite. And you're gonna find out this is when the Most High lift the hypnosis, everybody gonna have a problem. Because when the restrainer is really removed, the mana semi, mana peve, and mana velala, it's gonna be a really bad time for people. Like I said, the older generation, they're not seeing the storm that's coming from the younger generation, and they're gonna regret it because it's starting to happen. The younger generation, which is 25 and below, are getting sick and tired of the lies because they're seeing now what is our future really? We don't really have one because somebody's lying to us. This is actually 30 and below. Nobody's catching on. This is even coming from 40 and below. If you're not seeing that the younger generation is getting tired of the old folks that don't want to understand that they're getting played, you're going to see it now because they've already said it that the young black men, not just in America, in Africa too, are becoming a problem. You're not seeing this because now we're learning. Everybody, I said, it's common sense. What color is dirt? The Most High didn't take sand to make Adama, but they wanted you to convince you that he did. He took dirt. What color is it? Reddish brown. That I'm telling you, Leopard Cain's going to get everybody out here destroyed because he's lying to people. And you're following the way of these lepers people, and they have no idea what they're talking about because they have not been taught the truth, but they're acting like they have been, and you're following them. And so now, like it says, a fool is someone who thinks he knows everything. I heard a brother say that. A fool will always be somebody who thinks he knows everything. I will never say I know everything ever again. No, there's no way. You know everything, then you claim you know everything, then you are saying you're better than the Most High. That's what happens. That's what the hypocrite did. He said, I know more than you, and I'm better than you. Now the whole world thinks just like that. We know everything. Okay. You were never taught everything. So how could you know everything from the one who knows everything? And that's why it's called a strong delusion. When you think you know everything, you're under the hypnosis. You think you got it made. Okay, you think you got it right. You think you see it your way. This is not Trey's way. This is not anybody's way. It's the Most High's way. And the Most High's way will never teach you to worship pagan gods that now say we're mythology and you believe it. Okay, whatever. Okay? People say pagan gods' names all the time and they act like nothing's wrong with it. Okay? You're going to find out the hard way very soon because it's coming to that. All right, so I'm going to start off with the Canaanite language. Actually, we're going to start with, what was it? The sound of the hit. Well, we're going to go back to the sound of ancient Samaria. Now, I'm going to sing my song first. And this is going to show you when Kimbangu said we're going to catch the thief with what he stole, he also said we're going to also expose all lies. Toko said the same thing, Simon Toko. Simone, we already knew nobody teaches the word Simon. We already knew it. Simone. We call Simon Peter. The real way we said it was Simone Ndopetelo or Kepa. They took the word Kepa. We said Ndopetelo. I'm going to tell you right now the word Peter comes from the Egyptian god Ptah. I watched a video that even said how Christianity incorporated Egyptian symbols into it. Once you did that, we told people you can't do that. That's when you went to sleep with the sorcerer because he's the one that was doing that so he could get power. All right. Sorry, lost my page here. All right. When there's love at home. Now, there's two kinds of love. There's true love and then there's ignorant love. Okay? People can still do true love and still be ignorant with love. Now, people can say, oh, you're so gullible. The whole world has been made gullible because everybody's doped up. Everybody's been taking in I'm telling you, they ain't hiding it anymore. They know most people don't study chemistry. Most people don't know how to do combinations of things. So you will never figure out that what you're putting inside of your body is actually not good for you. I told you, chemists, they know. That's why you're going to find out. Many chemists, they know they tell their children, don't eat that. I know what that is. They're going to say, oh, no, you ain't going to touch that. I know what that is too. There's people who study chemistry that they know they don't feed certain things to their children because they know what it is. When they read the thing and say, wait a minute, I know what that is. We're not eating that. That's why they shop. People who do science and know science, they do not shop the same way as people who don't know what they're talking about. You think I'm lying to you? You're going to find out the hard way. Because the word chemistry or chemistry comes from an Egyptian word. They know that too. The people are high up. Okay? They know that chemistry comes from the Mitzrayim, the Kemet. That's why they had to change his name to Mitzrayim. That was actually a Hittite word. We didn't call him that. We call him Ngibiti. We call him after his sister. He's like we called it after his sister, and it was Kemi. That was his brother. That was her brother, Egypticus. Que se qui tu tele, vo tu zolana. Pamaya langanga, vo tu zolana. Weti yoluvuvamu, bila miknina kikilu, pasikezi tantuako, votu zolana, 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 zolana. Wete wingi tuna wa tuna is in our language. And just about the name of the fish. Votuzolana. Que se kingi vananzo. Votuzolana. Que tu monan sitako. Votuzolana. Kana wotu kondwanga, lekwa yingi ovansa, inisu didi, didi, didi tu vois, votu zolana, 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 zolana. Wete wingi tuna wa vo tuzolona. Zambe okutudanga vo tuzolana. Singa kutu sambula vo tuzolana. Wantu ekutu kwikila, vuvu ekubundanga, kemokutu salanga, votu zolana, vo zolana, vo zolana, zolana. Wete wingi tunawa, votu zolana. I'm going to take the words of a man, and I listen to him sometimes because he does say a lot of good things. Dr. Umar Johnson. One of his comments he made, he said, if you tell the truth You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your money. You're going to lose everything. Do you know why he said that? Because he's telling you when they coded it, you are working in the kingdom of hypocrisy and you don't even know it. So then to actually walk in the real truth will make you that they're going to strip you of everything. And I heard them say it. We're coming after everybody that doesn't want to believe our con. We're going to take everything from you because that's exactly why they are the con people. You think they're not? They've even admitted it out of their own mouth, but they don't care because all the money has been put into the fact, and I know what's getting ready to happen is going to catch everybody off guard because I know what America is about to become over the next few months, and you're not ready for it. I can guarantee you, you're not ready for it. I know that when they get ready to be done with this Passover that they got, that people don't understand, if Easter and Passover were the same, then why are they 3 days apart this year? Because the Messiah came in on the Passover. But now you're going to put Palm Sunday 3 days before the Passover even starts, that they're claiming, and as the Leviticus law says, it's 14 days after the New Year. But wait a minute, they celebrated the New Year back in September. But then the first month became 6 months later. Man, if you can't see by now that you are a solar worshiper and a lunar worshiper, even with the fact that the new year for the Muslim people starts in June and it's a strictly lunar calendar, not even 600, 364 days, which is the actual days in the book of Jubilee, you're going to keep believing the Roman 365 days because they were a solar cult? You be my guess. Because they believed that same lie that they was rotating around Samyaza. Because that's where it comes from. You want to keep believing Samyaza's bullcrap? You be my guest. Because everybody about to find out all religions come from him. Uncle Sam, Samyaza, who was the main fallen leader of the angels of Mount Hermony. And I'm telling you, Muhammad was talking to Gadriel, not Gabriel, that they changed to Gabriel. Gabriel is actually a demonic angel. The real Gabriel ben nZambi and Siole, you're going to see the devil copied everything, but the house of El is not the house of Yah and Zombie. They see the house of Yah. That's only half of it. The Most High. Of what? Yakongo, truth. Kagor. That's in the Hebrew. They know the center, the truth. All right, we're going to get into this language today. First, I want to read the book of Yasser. It was Yassi. They changed it to Jasher. It was Yaseh because Yaseh means the Most High Father. That was his name, Yaseh. Because I'm going to show you if I can get the Kikongo to do it, this algorithm, please help me. I'm going to switch it over and I'm going to show you the word say. It was our word for father, say. So I'm going to try to pull up the lyrics for when Michael Jackson was singing with I'm not gonna play the song because of copyrights and all that stuff. I'm not gonna get into all that. They won't let me have the video up. Him and Paul McCartney, the song started off, say, what's the name of that song? Say. You're gonna find out they keep saying Father, Father, Father. Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson song. So the lyrics, it says, say what you want, but don't play games with my affections. This is when you're going to find out, because remember, they also got dressed up as clowns, right? Say is a Kikongo word that means father. So you're saying father, father, father 3 times. Oh, you think that's just a miraculous thing? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, say 3 times. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, say. We say nZambi Tatu, say Tatu. Father, 3. They call it say Trinity. The word Trinity is a Latin word. We never said that. It also comes out of the um, Egyptian connection of Alset, Alser, and Heru. That was what they called the Trinity. You're going to find this out. Okay. Um, so now, because the Most High, the Most High, he's not equal to anything. He made the Holy Spirit, and he also made. That's why there's 7 spirits of him. That's what the word Sambwadi. This is where they get the word. That's why the menorah is supposed to be 7. That represents the 7 spirits of the Most High. That Christians think they got it, but yet they're going with traditions of men, claiming to know the Most High, and that's why you're going to see the traditions of men will always make the law of no effect, and the law is the Messiah, and that's why when you're going following the traditions of men, you're following the one who is also the beast, who is a man, and his name, and calculate the number 666, which in the Hebrew, the number 6, in the Assyrian Aramaic and the Yiddish, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you right now the letters, the number in the Aramaic, in the Phoenician language is the 6th letter is the letter V, Vav. How can the Most High's name be Yavav if that's how you spell it? Because the Yod He Vav He is supposed to be, you pronounce it Yavav, but yet it's supposed to be Yahweh or Yahweh. How can that be? Then I found it, you can say Yava, okay? And this is what people are going to continue to not understand. All right. So let's go to, what did I say? Sumerian language. And you're going to tell me this is the original language of the Father? You're going to fool yourself. All right. I don't own the rights to any of these things. This is just for education purposes only. I'm letting you listen to these sounds. This is free and it's on the public domain. And everybody can see that this is it's going to show you the inscription of Entemena of Lagash. And this is the wall of Babylon. Lion's Gate. This is the Lion's Gate, by the way. Okay. I want you to listen to these different languages and you're going to see what I'm talking about. This is the one language that everybody was speaking when they built the Tower of Babel. I'm telling you, let's see if we can get it to say. Let's do it like this. What was the one language when the Tower of Babel was built? Okay. So they call it Adamic language. So then you're going to have the argument where I'm going to show you, well, what language was that? Okay, this is Sumerian language. But this is not the language that's spoken supposedly by the Hebrews. Oh, you think, right? Okay. If we're going to get into the book of Joshua here in a minute, let me just let you hear this.
The ancient Sumerian language. The inscription by Entemena of Lagash. Enlil, Lugal, Kurkur Abba, Dinger Dingereneke, Inim Ginanita Ningir Su Sharabiki Enesur, Mesilin, Lugal Kishke Inim Ishtaranata, Eshgan Berakiba Nabiru, Ush, Ensi Ummake, Nam Inimma, Diridirishe Ea. Narwabi ipad, eden lagashe ingen. Inni resu.
Eden lagas, Eden. Okay? Did you notice right off the gate? I'm going to show you where they were at.
Language. The inscription by Antemena of Lagash, Enlil.
All right. This name right here is the main god. I'm going to then take you and see if I got the other one. I'm pretty sure this is connected to the other one. There's the word Nani, which it means 8 in our language. In Ginani, ta. Okay? Nani te. You think that, man, I'm telling you.
Lugal kurkur aba, dingereneke. Inim ginanita ningir su sharabiki enesu. Mesilin, lugal kishke inim ishtaranata.
There goes the woman right there. Istaram. Man, this is the woman. That is the whore of Babylon right there.
Eshgan berakiba nabir. Ush, ensi umbak.
And it says the king of Kish. So you say Kush.
Narwabi ipad, eden lagashe ingen. Inni resu, ursag en lilake. Inim sisanita umada.
Lucky. Lucky. Hey, hello. The word lake. This is when I get the word lake, by the way. Lucky. Lakey. Okay. Hello. Boy, you.
Damkhara ita. Inim en lilata. Sa shugal bishu. Sa khardo takabi.
And the translation is at the bottom. I can't get it because.
Silagash. Pabilga en metena en silagash kake. En akale en si umada ki edaso. Thanks for watching.
Okay. The translation's at the bottom. You want to look this up, you'll see what he was talking about. Okay. What God did they mention? And who is his equivalent to the Canaanites? Okay. Now we're going to go to a little bit of some Egyptian. Because I don't own the rights to this. It's in the free domain. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm telling y'all, people going to find out these languages, they connected to the Most High more than you know.
Egyptian language. Khubatanbah, the Book of Rites. Invocation of the God Self. Nuk biraman wa'abik, birab wa'ab shat. Akshaemt udfa'a. Invocation of overcoming karma. Sim'a'em sandit. And kishartu.
Sema, and Samu. I have made my way. And Samu is away no siemi cambotekeno, Samu, the way. Okay, away no siemi cambotekeno. Right here. But you want to keep thinking, okay, you got people that still, and you got some Kemetic people in our people helping us, and they lying their behinds off.
Sakeruna. Ar ech guaur seta. Au ehach achjau harun.
What does that sound like?
Invocation of
what nation kind of got that ha sound? Mm-hmm. All right.
soul memory. Nuk arisapu and enti unin.
Don't they say we want to nuke somebody? What does that mean? In Egyptian, nuke, I am. So now when you say the word nuke, you are saying I am in Egyptian. Okay.
Invocation.
Now what does it say? Invocation. when I was in church, a lot of times when we go to, I used to go to, they used to say, you need to do the invocation. Astral flight. If you don't think that this is what many witches and warlocks are doing and saying to go and become astral projection and do the things that you're not taught, I'm telling you, you want to snap these cords. I'm telling you, man, everything goes back to some lies. All right, I'm not going to say too much with that. Now we're going to go to the Hittite language. Actually, we're going to go to the Phoenician language because the Phoenicians are Canaanites. Let's go. Yeah, this is going to look familiar because for everybody, when you say, them people say, Shema Israel, Echad, Echad, Echad. Right there is the word Echad, one. Shema Israel, Echad, one. What language is that? That's why when they want to hide that Mosi, Mosi and Sukkah, and then they put Sukkat. Okay, they say unsuka, they say sukat, the end, because sukat means the end, and suka we said the end. I'm gonna show it to you. Yeah, you think we playing? You think we not the people? Unsuka, end, Lingala, unsuka, sukat means the end. All right, let's go to this language. Back. All right, let's go through it.
Aniki Andy. Ushalmim Atim. Good day, everyone. My name is Andy. How are you? Let's talk about the Phoenician language.
Duberim Tananim Ponim.
Phoenician was the language of Phoenicia from around 1200 BC during the Late Bronze Age.
You can spell Yahweh in this language.
And was
Yahweh.
also spoken in Phoenician
Yod He
colonies,
Vav He is right there.
where it evolved into Punic. Punic, along with its descendant, Neo-Punic, persisted in North Africa until the 7th century AD. As a Canaanite
7th century AD.
North Semitic
What did she say? The 7th century AD. Take note of that.
Closest relative is Biblical Hebrew. The parent Canaanite.
They said closest to biblical Hebrew. Well, wait a minute. It sounds a lot like it's not the same, right?
Sir Jordan, Lebanon, and northwest Syria. Proto-Semitic and its derivatives belong to the Afro-Asiatic language family, found in the Middle.
Now I'm going to show you this. What is the language of the Ashkenazi Jews? Yiddish. The primary historical language of Ashkenazi Jews is Yiddish. Developed around the 9th to 10th century in Central Europe, is a Germanic language that incorporates Hebrew, Aramaic, and Slavic elements. I'm going to show you the Assyrian Aramaic in a minute. I'm telling you, they know Kikongo and Lingala is a Semitic language, and they're going to keep hiding it.
Middle East, North Africa, and Ethiopia. Phoenician had two primary dialects, the Biblian dialect of Gubal, modern-day Byblos, Lebanon, and the Tyro-Sidonian.
Byblos. Byblos means book. From you know who? Helios Biblios. Because in the Phoenician world, they worship that same God that the Egyptians worship as Helios. Okay.
Dialects of southern Lebanon, as well as the later Punic and Neo-Punic dialects. Some Phoenician elements persist in modern Lebanese and North African Arabic dialects, and certain words have been adopted by other languages, including Latin. The Phoenician alphabet, notable for its 22 consonants and absence of vowels, was likely the first.
It only has 22.
Was an ancient Semitic maritime civilization based along the coastal strip of the
Look
Levant.
who's sitting in the middle right here.
Now Lebanon, renowned for their
Who is this?
seafaring and navigation skills.
Just because they spell it Ball, Baal, Bale, Bail, it's the same.
This network enabled cultural exchanges between major civilizations such as Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia.
And when the lady was talking about Portuguese sounds like Russian, because the Aramaic people, Assyrians, also the Hittites, I'm going to get to the Hittites in a minute, and then also the Phoenicians were trading with Tarshish. Tarshish is what you now call modern day Portugal and Spain. Tarsus. And I'm going to show you here the 7 language. I'm going to go to this book that shows you the 70 different, that breaks down the brothers and where they located are. I'm going to show you right now.
Phoenicians founded colonies and trading posts across the Mediterranean, with Carthage in northwest Africa becoming a significant civilization by the 7th century.
See, there's a reason why they want to keep hiding you going further down into the continent. Why is that?
Using a substance from the Murex marine snail, which was
like nobody was there, right? Just a bunch of wild people running around just a bunch of crazy black Africans that didn't have nothing. They did the same concept with Native Americans. Remember that.
Numbers.
אחד, שתים, שלוש, ארבע, חמש, שש, שבע, שמונה, תשע, עשר.
Okay. Stem. 2. I can guarantee you that is where the word stem comes from, without the H. Because that's how we would have actually said it as a Bakongo, as a nZambi Bene Isalu. We didn't have the H. We would say, because Chiluba, the H sound comes from the TZ, the H sound, Chiluba. Okay? So stem would be stem without the H. So stem is probably a Kikongo or stemmy. Could be a Kikongo word. Okay.
Greetings and phrases.
אניחי, אתה, אתי, הוא, היא, אנחנו, אתם, אמת.
Now I'm telling you, anybody that's speaking the Laquan Kwadash or speaking Yiddish or speaking any Aramaic, you just heard your language. Okay? Look at how I bless you by the Father of all gods, he grants you good things. Barak. Hold on, let me see if I shit up.
אניחי,
Barak Tahom. Barak. You got somebody named Barack Obama, don't you? Barry Sotoro. Okay. Barak Tom Lee El Abe Alonim Yip Alkom Now Noam. I bless you by El, the Father of all gods. May he grant you good things. Oh. Abe. Abba. Abana. We said Abba, Abana. Yaabe, Yambe, Yaabe, because Yambe comes from Yaabe with a nasal mm, Yambe, Yaabe. So now you got Elabe. Okay. I'm telling you, this is Elohim. This is Alimo. All praises to people that we give honor, lukumu to people who taught the truth and give us information. Okay. Oh, did you not just see the Emmy Awards? My mother is a housewife. Emmy Balat Bet He. Emmy is mother in Phoenician language. Oh my goodness. Are we sure we paying attention? All right. My father is a leader of the army of Tyre. Put a I. Watch how they gonna say it. Abi Tamachaba Chur. Where do you think that TS sounds come from? Chur Chaba Chur. Don't we have the in Kikongo Chiluba? 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 Where did the TS sound come from? Who said it first? Chiluba. Yesua Chiluba. Okay.
عبميقات يوم نعيم لكلهم شالم ويريح لكلهم.
Okay. Now, sorry, let me get rid of this thing. This thing, hide the floating thing. All right. Now we're going to go to the Hittite language. Oh, you ready? Remember, all right, let's do this. What son of Noah did the Hittites come from? According to the Bible, Genesis Wantete Wamosi, the Hittites descended from Ham. What's the war of Kadesh about? The Hittites and Cami. Okay, so then the Hittites and the Egyptians come from the same father. What did okay, what son of Noah did the Egyptians come from? According to the biblical Psalms, the Egyptians descended from Ham. Okay, you tell me the War of Kadesh was between two groups, Hittites and Egyptians. What did the Bible say their grandfather was called? Kami, Ham. But then when you look at the Hittites, they look like they're not dark, but look like a lighter color when you look at them. Okay, so here's the thing. Didn't they say melanated people come from the curse of Ham? But why the Hittites not dark? Or were they really dark? And then also, they Hamites. I'm telling you, if you can't wake up by now, you're not going to wake up. Because the Hittites are now claiming the descendants. Okay? Are the Ashkenazi Jews the same as the Hittites? Are the Ashkenazi Jews the same as the Hittites? This thing is not listening to me. Now, here's the thing. It says, are the Ashkenazi Jews the Jews of the Bible? Well, yes. Ashkenazi Jews are part of the Jewish people who trace their ancestral roots back to the Israelites of the Bible. But Ashkenaz is the son of Yapetha. Okay, we're just going to say that. Read the Bible. It's in there. It says it. Okay. What son of Noah is Ashkenaz the descendant of? Ashkenaz is the descendant of Noah's son, Japheth. Interesting. We'll leave it at that. Are the Hittites and the Ashkenazi Jews the same? No. The ancient Hittites and modern Ashkenazi Jews are not the same people. They are a distinct group with different origin, language, and periods. Hittites were an Indo-European empire in Anatolia, modern Turkey, during the Bronze Age, and Ashkenazi Jews are the Anthropologist group of ancestors of Levant who settled into Central Eastern Europe. Okay. Where's the land of Canaan in there? Where's the 12 tribes at? Just saying. All right, here we go. And I'm saying, I'm not saying it. Google's telling on them. They don't, isn't that what they say? Is it Google's talking about it? Okay.
The Hittite language. Nesili. Numbers and phrases.
Remember, they come from the Hamitic tribes.
Asosispant. Esmimoxus. As. Dan. Teres.
Dan,
Meyawes. Vocabulary.
Mandani,
Asu. Asusani. Aska. Alel. Aliana. Alantaru. Alpa. Ammu. Anas. Analla. Ananutia. Antaran.
those who speak Kikongo, you can hear the Kikongo in there. I'm telling you.
Kuai.
Okay, here we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Arma. Oh, man. Arma. The Hittite language, who are the descendants of Kami, which is Ham, Arma means moon. So the Maleki or the Umbasi of arms, the brothers in arms, are the moon cult, right? Atas' father. Man,
Manya. Atas. Dankui. Dalugasti. Dalugaes. Dur. Eru. Es. Esgar. Essi. Esmi. Esten. Estsi. Et. Etri. Eku. Ekku. Ergas.
now this being a Hamitic tribe, according to the Bible, the scriptures, does this sound like the Most High language to you? And these are Canaanites, these are Hamites. Are we missing something here? Okay. Let's go to the book of Jasher. After these things, the king sent and assembled all his officers and servants and all of the princes and nobles belonging to the king, that they all came from before the king. Now remember, the Hittites in the war of Kadesh, Kadosh and Kadesh means holy. Okay? So let's look at the word. Let's go to the Hebrew, shall we? And look at what the word gonna say. If I put Hebrew Okay? And I put Lingala here, and I put the word, let me flip it now. In Sukkah, they're going to say Akron. You see why the algorithm just did right there? Because I know it would say Sukkot. When you say the word Sukkot, you think they're not listening? Did I not just say Feast of Tabernacle? Booths or huts is a 7-day festival running in Tishri that commemorates 40 years of Israel wandering in the desert. Let me talk about something right here. Okay, let's go back. Didn't I just say Intenta, Feast of Tabernacles? You see how they got it back? Tishri, wait a minute. This is the wandering. How did wandering end up over here? How did wandering in the wilderness get turned into the 6 months apart? Because Tishri should be now, according to the new year. Okay? So here we go. We're going to put the words, put it in here. Pake Yambote. Pake, Pac, Pake. Was it not a rapper named Tupac? Tusamba, Tupac? Let me see something right here. Look what it changes to. Look what it just switched over to when I put it in English. Happy Easter. Ha! You people, miss son! It switched it to Happy Easter. Man, if y'all can't wake up that we know, okay, that Estor has nothing to do with the Passover, the way you have been taught. When was it though? The New Year was 6 months ago. They said they celebrated their New Year. Now they're going to celebrate the beginning of the month. And wait a minute, you got 2 New Years. How did that happen? The first month and then what? Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Let's look at Happy New Year. Umvula Yampi, Yampa. There's a street there called Yampa. This is the combined word. Mvula Yampa, Yambote, Yampa. Mvula. Voila would be, of course, and voila would become voila also, because this is referring to the new year for the priesthood, for the judges and the judges. Man, I'm gonna see if we can do it. Ngangang voila, priest or judge or attorney. Ngangang voila. You think this was a French word? Voila. See, V-O-I. They changed it to V-O-I-L-A, and now you think it was a French word. They changed the spelling of it. Okay. As the king said, behold, you have seen and heard all the words of the Hebrew men, Kabiru. We know that Kabiru was more the word that Hebrew, and this comes from Eber, Ebe, okay? And all the signs which were declared would come to pass. Not any of his words have fallen to the ground. You know that has given a proper interpretation of the dream. It surely to come to pass. Now forsake, take counsel, and know that you will do all, know how the land will be delivered from the famine. Seek now and see whether the light we have found in whose heart there is wisdom and knowledge, and I will point over the land. For you have heard that the Bayudayo, okay, that's what it was, silent, Bayudayo, men have advised concerning this to save the land thereof from the famine, and I know that the land will not be delivered from the famine with the achieve of the you're gonna see what him that advised. And all that said, the counsel of the Hebrew has given that is good now, the Lord of the King. So let's talk about this. Is this the Hittites in captivity? The Hamitic people? Or is this the Banabeti Israeli? Better understand the difference. Okay? The land of which seemeth in the sight of whom, though chooses whom the wisdom knows the wise and capable of delivering the land with the wisdom, shall be the king appoint under him over the land. And the king said to all officers, I have thought that since God, nZambi, known to Hebrew, Tata nZambi, spoken, there's none as discreet to the wise holy land if we seen good in your sight, place him over the land, for I will save this land of wisdom. All the officers answered the king, saying, but surely it is written in the laws of Egypt, Egypticus and Gipiti, the daughter of Kami. Understand this. And should be not be violated, no man shall reign over in Gipiti, nor be the second to the king, but one who has knowledge in all the languages of the sons of men. How many languages does the average Bantu, if you know who they meet them, speak? Most of you probably can't even tell me. The Kembe Matombo from Congo, and I know what his name now means. This man spoke how many? He spoke over 17 languages. How many language does the average American speak? All them advantages. We're speaking in tongues. Oh, wait a minute. This is the speaking in tongues that you don't understand. You cannot even be a king of Engipity. Okay. How many languages does the president know how to speak? But he the most high representative. Donald Trump is a representative of the God of the 12 tribes. How many languages does he know how to speak, really? Do they really know? Why you need a translator? For others people speaking and you go to the UN, I need a translator. Wait a minute. To be a king of Egypt, you got to know all the languages of men. Mm-hmm. and should be violated the knowledge of the language of men. Now, therefore, our Lord and King, behold this Hebrew man, they call him our Lord and King, talking to the Egyptian king. Behold, this Hebrew man can only speak the Hebrew language. And how then can he be over the second under government? And he knoweth our language. Now pray thee, send for him, and let him come before thee, and prove him all things, and do as thou see fit. And the king said, it shall be done tomorrow, and that the things you have spoken in good, and the officers come the day before the king. And on that night, this is where we're going to bust some people out right now. On that night, the Lord, the Infumu, the Most High, sent one of his ministering angels and came into the land of Egypt unto Joseph, you call Joseph, that in the original Bibles, it spelled his name with an I, okay? And the angel of the Lord stood before Joseph, and behold, Joseph was lying in the bed at night, and in his master's house in the dungeon, for his master had put back into the dungeon on account of his wife. And the angel roused him up from his sleep, and Joseph rose up and stood upon his legs. And behold, the angel of the Lord was standing opposite to him. And the angel of the Lord spoke with Joseph, and he talked with him all the language of the man at night, and called his name Jehoshaphat. Changed his name. He changed his name after he now knew how to speak the languages. And then it says, and the angel of the Lord, Infumu, from him returned and lay upon his bed, and was astonished at the vision what he saw. Now watch this. And it came to pass in the morning that the king sent for all of his officers and servants, and they all came and sat before the king. And the king ordered Joseph to be brought, and the king's servant went and brought Joseph before the Pharaoh. And the king came forth, ascended the steps of the throne, and Joseph spoke upon the king in all languages. And Joseph was sent to him and spoke unto the king until he arrived and before the king in the 70th step, and he sat before the king, because each step represented a language. I'm telling you, and I already know it's going to happen, and I'm waiting for this day, because I know I'm waiting for this day. Okay? You got some people out here. Let me say it again. You have some people out here claiming to know the God of all languages. Because the Most High getting ready to embarrass some folks. I'm telling you. You got Europeans, Chinese, all the Christians around the world claim to know the God of Abana, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And when did an angel come to visit you to teach you how to speak another language that you didn't know how to speak in one night? When? But you got to go and get a translator to go with you on a mission to another country that you don't know how to speak the language, but you telling me you have the Holy Spirit in you to the fullest. I'm talking about to the fullest. And yet, and yet, you can't even understand what another person is saying. I'm calling myself out too on this because I'm telling you, the day is going to come when some folks are going to get embarrassed, when they're going to finally see what it means when you say, I can speak in the tongues of men. That Saul says in the New Testament, I may speak in the tongues of men and be a noise. If I don't have love, I have nothing. So now, if you have the God of truth, that you love him, then why are you convinced that one language, especially for the English speaking folks out here, why don't you know how to speak Hebrew already? Why you got to go to a class, spending, you go to college, you spend all kinds of money. An angel sat with your nephew one night, and he was wiser than all of the people in Egypt. One night. Changed his name because of it. Man, if you people don't understand that many people are playing you by now, you're not going to get it. Because what I just said to you is an angel of the Most High. When people question who you are and say you can't be this and you can't be that and you can't be this, the Most High will dispatch an angel to show them how stupid you are. Right? Didn't that what it just say? Why do you think this book now, Yasser, is mentioned in the Bible? Don't you find it in the book of Jasher? Where's the book of Jasher at? You know why? Because it also tells you in this book what clothing Esau was really wearing was a leopard skin. But in the version you got, it says, oh, he had on a goat skin. Why did they change it from leopard skin to goat skin when the book of Jasher is mentioned in the Bible? It's not there, but then you see Esau wearing a goat skin in the other version. But in the book of Jasher, it says that Nimrod had a leopard skin, and and Esau took it from Nimrod, and then because it also says Ham, took the leopard skin from his father Noah. And the word go in our language meant leopard, ngo. The nasal was there. Ngo, leopard. Woo, Father, help me, please. Let me go to this next language. I'm gonna encourage you to read the secrets of the first cup. Now, I'm gonna get into, hold on. Now, this is gonna be Assyrian Aramaic, native to northern Mesopotamia, primarily spoken in the northern, what country did it say? Iraq, northeastern Syria, southeastern Turkey, northwest Iran. Iran is how you really say it. Iran. I ran to the stores when they know it. They're messing with you. Diaspora communities worldwide. Assyrians. They're going to call it Afro-Asiatic, Semitic, Central Semitic, Aramaic, Eastern Aramaic, Neo-Aramaic. Who is speaking this language? Do you even see the name of the 12 tribes mentioned in this? Boy, all right, let's go. Like I said, we're not making this up. You think we're making this up. It's right here. Let's go.
Hello, my
He actually got a feather in the cap of his head. You see that?
let's talk about the Assyrian Neo-Aramaic language.
Lishana Ashuraya.
Assyrian Neo-Aramaic is a modern Eastern Aramaic language spoken by the Assyrian people, with its literary form based primarily on the Urmian dialects. It evolved between the 5th century BC and the 1st century AD through the merging of the Assyrian dialects of the Akkadian language with Aramaic. Before the Aramaean influence, Assyrians used cuneiform writing, but by the 9th century BC, they had also adopted Kitab Ashuri, now known as the Hebrew alphabet. Following the fall of
What does it say? They adopted the now known as the Hebrew alphabet. The Assyrians are who you want to call the Hebrews. How was that the 12 tribes? Man, if you don't. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go.
the Assyrian Empire in 605 BC, the language increasingly incorporated Aramaic features, leading to two main dialect groups: Western Assyrian, which transitioned to the Syriac script, and Eastern Assyrian, which continued using Kitab Ashuri for some time. The spread of Christianity, especially
I
in the
told you
city of
Damasi
century
is
BC,
how they now call Damascus, but Damasi, you know where that's at? That's not up in there. That's down in the that's sub-Saharan Africa, Damasi.
with dialectal differences influenced by proximity to either Aramaic or Akkadian linguistic roots. The Assyrians are an indigenous ethnic group of Mesopotamia, with a history that stretches back thousands of years to the ancient Assyrian Empire.
Look at this picture. What you see, who you see in this picture? Aren't these the small hats? Isn't this the people of the book? Wait a minute. Am I missing something here? Okay.
Despite the empire's fall in 605 BC, the
Fell in
Assyrians
605 BC.
had a distinct cultural identity rooted in their language, religion, and traditions. The early adoption of Christianity in regions like Azerin and Adebin deeply shaped Assyrian cultural and religious life, making them one of the earliest Christian communities in the region.
Christians are learning Assyrian language. So this cannot be the fact that you say the Messiah was speaking. No, he wasn't. But they're going to make you think he was. That's why we're singing that song, nZambi, Osi Yangala. The way of the Almighty. Yesu Monanan Zambi. Yesue Golanangai. Yesue Golanangai. You think that the Assyrians taught us to say that? That the Phoenicians, the Khazars, the Hittites taught us to sing Yesue Golanangai. You think that they taught us that? The Christians taught us that? Then why wouldn't we say it like that? Why wouldn't we sing it in the way the early Christians are now speaking Aramaic? So why aren't we speaking Aramaic as Banabeta of Isolile, and we singing the song Yesue Golanangai? Okay? Let's find out what that I just said when I translated, because it's in Lingala. What does that say? Yeshua, I put Yeshua. I put the Yesue because that's usually how we said it, Yesue. Ngolo Nangai. Jesus is the power. What Christian from Europe, because now we know Christianity started in Ethiopia, they're full of it. What Ethiopian, what Aramaic speaking person, because we're saying, yes, that was an Iwi. Did you see the translation from Iwi? Isn't that what they called the people who follow King Kong? The Iwi? Okay, Iwi, right there. Yesue Ngola Nangai. Jesus is the power. No European person on this earth taught us this. If you believe it today, for those who are now understanding that, I mean, on the continent, if you think that you learned that from Protestants, if you think you learned that from Protestants, if you think you learned that from the Catholic Church, if you think you learned that from the Eastern Orthodox Christians, who they speak in Greek and Aramaic, and we saying, then why would we not say it like how they taught them? If the Christians got taught Jesus is the power, okay, let me see. Jesus is the power. Yesu Azali Nguya, okay? Azalite, okay, yep, I got that song, okay? Let's change it to Hebrew, shall we? The Aramaic or the Yiddish. Yeshua hu hakoch. That's what that says. Yeshua hu hakoch. Isn't that how, if we learned this from the Ashkenazi Jews, if we learned this from the Aramaic speaking people, if we learned that, and this is what the early Christians would have been saying, if we learned that from them, why don't we say it like that? Why do we sing in the Lingala and the Kikongo, Yesue Golanangai? Let me put it in, okay, I'm going to put it in Congo language. Yesu kele ngolo. Yesu kele ngolo. Wait a minute. But if we're learning how to speak it from the Aramaic speaking people, the Adamic, why don't we say it like that? Let's see if we can go to Ethiopian. What is it? Let's see. I don't even know. I'm gonna give it to me. All right, let's see if we can find it. Okay. This is Amharic, which is the language of Ethiopia. Iesusi Hayili Newi. Why don't we say it like that? Since Ethiopians taught us how to say Jesus is the power. Man, I'm telling y'all, if you still sleeping and you don't think that this Congo language, Congolo, just there was no C. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. There was no C. There was not the letter C. So you go back and you change the Chicago to the letter K and erase the letter C, you're gonna get Chicago. Then put the nasally sound back, Kikongo. The man who was black that founded the Chicago was called Jean Baptiste. Again, if they taught us to say in Hebrew, let's go to John the Baptist. Yochanan Hambat Hamatbil. Yochanan Hamatbil. How come Christians don't say that? There's a Y there. Yochanan, John, Yochanan Hamatbil. And the French say Jean Baptiste. Now let's put it back in the Lingala, shall we? Ioane Mobatisi. So let's get this straight. We learn how to speak Aramaic and Yiddish from the other people, but that's how we say it. We learn the Most High from the Ashkenazi Jews and the Canaanite, the Hebrews of the so-called Bible, speaking Aramaic, but that's how we say John the Baptist. Why wouldn't we say it like the way I just showed you if we learned it from them? Why say Yohane and not Yochanan? Why would we not say Yochanan if we learned it from them? You feeling okay? You can go to the rest of lay down if you want to do. This is osa, osa. O Yohane umbaptizi, umbaptizi, osa. But there's a lot of people that claim that they learn it from these Ashkenazi Jews or Latin or how come we're not saying the way I just sold it in Hebrew? All I'm going to say, people, is the charade is coming to an end. It is. The charade is coming to an end. And I'm telling you, because I'm going to break it down for you, right? I did the days of the week. Where does Monday come from? Where does Tuesday come from? Where does Wednesday come from? Where does Thursday come from? Where does Friday come from? Where does Saturday come from? And if you're going to sit there and tell me that the God who said, don't say any of the other God's names, don't even let it come out of your mouth, is going to now tell you it's okay to call on the moon goddess, Monday, Moon Day. It's okay to God on the god Mars from Tuesday because that's where it comes from. It's okay to now call on Odin that you get Wednesday from. Oh, now you can just go ahead and call on Thor for Thursday. Oh, yeah, go ahead and call on Frigga for Friday. And just, oh, I have no problem with you calling on Saturn for Saturday. You gonna tell me that? The God who literally said, have no other gods before me. Do not speak other names of other gods. Since y'all want to call the Bible, for those who say it's 100% right, which we know they put some truth in some. The God who said, have no other God before me, gonna now say, you can say Saturn, Saturn's day, and I'm cool with that? Really? He gonna tell you he's okay saying, go ahead and keep saying Saturn's day. Because that's where Saturday comes from. Man, if y'all don't wake up, you're not gonna wake up. Of course they want to keep letting people who don't want to tell the truth hide it from you. They know how they get rich because the kingdom of darkness needs the kingdom of light descend from the people who come from the kingdom of light, they need to curse themselves so the kingdom of darkness can keep stealing and robbing the power from you. Because if they so-called now are the people of the book, they got all the power and all the money, why do they need help from other countries to defend themselves? You got the God that has all the power, all the glory, all the truth. Why you need our help? Why you calling on us to help you? Why you calling on what? Why you need our missiles, our bombs, when it says in the scripture the Father has an arsenal? You read the scripture. The Father got an arsenal to hand to people who need it. And no weapon formed against him can do nothing. Well, when it says no weapon formed against me shall prosper, it means I am indestructible. Even you kill me, I'm going to get back up. Even if you do something to me, it's not going to have an effect on me. All right, we're going to end right here. All praises. We're going to sing the song, and I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to, okay, Kukwisi Ambote once again. Tusika men, I forgot to say that for people in the morning. But let me just say, people, man, if you gotta keep, if you're gonna keep listening to this game that they playing now with the whole race card, because I already know this is all part of the game too. They are causing this. The hypocrite kingdom. I'm just gonna say it like that. They are instigating all of this stuff. They have been instigating things for so long you can't even remember that it's an instigation anymore. The lines are blurred together. You watch the news, you watch everything, you take it for fact. And they laughing because half of the stuff they put on the news is staged. Oh, conspiracy. Yeah. No. There's been evidence, investigators have even noticed it, that something looks like it was a staged event, that it wasn't actual reality. Hence the term false flag. I didn't invent that term. I didn't come up with that word. Okay? Let me get the song pulled up. I meant to do the Arabic. Yeah, let me do this last Arabic one. This is gonna blow you away right here. This is a Most High language. Watch where it come from. Watch. This is Ishmael. It's gonna give you the translation. Look at how it's written up in here, and you're gonna see Kikongo in it. Telling you, watch. You're gonna see Bantu languages in this.
لحيان بن عقيدة ذي آل كمي ونصب وذبح وحلل وخرس أشياعه صابئين فهالله ودي شر سلم وقبلا فهالله تروحي وغنيمة.
See how they're still saying his name?
زيد بن شارك بن ربح ذي آل قمر ومطيان.
How does it sound any different?
شيع حقهم غنيمة ورمي برمحه وخزر بسيفه فمرق كلال سلساله فقد دعوي الغنيمة وسلام وخلف لسلاحه مئال نبط وعور ذا خبلا.
See? Scratch out his eyes who scratched out this writing. How does that now change for the Muslim world that says, let death be upon him whoever desecrates the name of Allah or his teachings of Muhammad the Prophet? How did that change any at all? It sounds the same, and they're not calling on they acting like they're calling the God of the 12 tribes. Sound exactly the same as what they're talking like right now. Almost identical to it. And this is before, and this is when they claim they don't even know who he is. They're calling on another God. This is a polytheistic prayer. And the name is spelled Allat, and not Allah. And it still sounds like Allah. Ooh, people. Three frogs. Telling you, the three frogs, you're going to find out the hard way. Again, I don't own the rights to this song. I appreciate what this man is doing, but I don't always agree with everybody. I let the Wandavella be the judge. A lot of people can claim whatever they want to claim, but the Most High going to be the one to discern it all. The Holy Spirit going to tell you who's legit and who isn't if you're really listening. But the song is great because I'm telling you, you got people idolizing people who did powerful things. And yet, you don't even know that all Christians, the founders of their Protestant, the founders of the Protestant churches, the different versions of it, the founders, you're going to find out you're praying to them and their false god, the angel that tricked them out. Because for one, it's a fault. They said Martin Luther was part of the protest. He did not start the protest. It's a lie. The people who were protesting is who he got it from, and that's what they're hiding. Because the Banabit, the nZambi Banwe Baklistu, who argued against the Portuguese in Rome about what they were teaching us and where did they take our teachings, our writings, that is why Toko went to go get him back. Hey, you owe us. When Kimbangu said, we're going to catch the thief, we're going to get back what they took from us, Toko went to go get it. So if you really think Kimbangu and Toko are separate entities, they have conditioned you to something that is wrong. And in Kempavita, she gave the warning, speaking about these men that would come later, and Padi as well, the three Simons. And they knew each other. They knew each other. And Kimbangu was teaching them some stuff. Oh, but he got Toko put Kimbangu. At 3 years old, Toko put Kimbangu in prison because that's when he went there. Okay. I was going to show this thing, but I don't know if I can do it because it might cause a ruckus with the people who made it. But we're going to sing this song right here, and then we're going to close it out. Amazulu yatuka yavaka mamatemo yakulu mukina mukitembo katia vakimosia bisimbira moja biatuka yame Zulu diase Father twakuama yawagatmana mabata mumakongo. Zulu yotuka yavakike montemo yakulu mukina mukitembo katia vakimaseye mbisire mamboja bikevakame muzulu diase. Having a father. Wale yotatevana mabata mongo kango. Madatunga kialonga kilongo kia Congo, kilongo kia ko, kia twabindisa, kia lunda langa, ye kawamangyo, ikyokyo ye kisa yo kugi mandele, ikina kakula, mbalo zantima. Ayutunga kialongo, kilonga kia Congo, kilonga kia Congo, kia twaradisa, kia lunga da yang, kwe magang kio, ikio kio kia disa yo kia mandele, mosi ya kalo, mamambu natima. Ngeti futu kakwiza, mutungula kia, yufula kyo kyo, kuba kilva kukongo, muzimbandu vana, yeluza bialonga biya yasweka. That's how you really say Ezekiel, but it's Ezekiel. Vutula. Ngeti vutuka kwiza, mutungula kya, ifula kya kyo, bukivia bukongo, muzambura, yelwaza, tonga biya swilakeka, ngina vutula. Kembo Tata pasi wa Monica, Mukanda dia Congo di Kasola Munza, Mukala Winda, Mukala Unga, Yapemuga Mato. Kembo Tata pasi wa Monica, Mukanda dia Congo di Kusala. Mukanda, Wakanda. The tribes. None of these men said they replaced Isaiah Kwon Fumi yesterday. Not one of them. Kwiza onkweti kwiza yesinga butukunga wena wakati kwa watata muzulu yakanda yakonga dikazola munza ondweke 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 una butukaninga. This does not come from the Hamitic tribes. You heard the languages I showed you. So how can it be the same? I just, Yembo watata mpasi wa Monica, mukande dia konga di kasola munza, mukala mwinda, mukala nunga, yembo mungu matoto. Yembo watata mpasi wa Monica, Windsor, Windsor, Toto, Yampumunga, Toto, Toto like the dog. Gazina quizi yame, Musa, Yazama Madema, Zina Nata, Kimpanza Muzine, Tukamupebe mu, Tini Yamwele, Inga Samba, Inginga Samba, Samba. Oh, that's the dance, Samba. Go. No, it's not. They took it from us. Thomas, Toma. Zina nate kimpanza munsi tukoma peve nutina yamuela ingina samba. Oh, that's a Latin dance that they do in Brazil. Samba means prayer dance, prayer. Tataka, Monica, Mukanda dia Conga di Casola Munza, Mukala Mwinda, Mukala Ngunga, Yampe Mungu Watoto, Kimbo Batata. All praises. All right, so I just gave you three. I'm not gonna do that other three four examples of languages that came from the descendants of Ham and Cami. I also gave you an example of a language that came from Ishmael. So if the the Bantu people and the Banabetu of Isolele come from the Hamitic tribes, then why does our language not sound anything like the people that they say come from the Hamites? As far as the pronunciations, the changes in the languages, why would they not sound identical to those people? Why does it sound different? Because they say Bantu people are Hamitic tribes. But yet I just gave you examples of languages that come from Hamitic tribes, and you see what they sound like? So who's lying? Man, people better wake up. But hey, it's your choice. I'm not making anybody follow me. You do what you do. The point is, somebody's lying. I just gave you examples of languages that they call Semitic, including from Hamitic people. And yet they call the Banabetu of Isolele. Let me see if I can even get the translation. And yet, why does it the other African languages that they say are supposed to be Hamitic? Why do the Bantu languages not sound like what I just sent to you? It doesn't sound anything like that. But yet they're supposed to be Hamitic people. Boy, I just typed in Kikongo, Bana Betu Na Isayele. Let me say it again. I typed in Bana Betu Na Isayele. This is how we would have said it. Kituba is the language of Congo. The English translation is brothers in Israel. Boy, you think they taught us to say this. Why would we not? If they taught us to say this in Hebrew, why do we say Bana Betu Na Isayele translates into brothers in Israel, but yet we're Hamitic people? But we're Hamitic tribes speaking Aramaic and the Hebrew language and the Canaanite language. I just gave you examples of that. Doesn't even sound the same. Not even close. Bana Betu Abisalele, the brothers of Israel, is what it says right there. Oh, but why wouldn't we say the way I taught and showed you in the languages that come from the Hamitic tribes? I didn't even get into the Cushites yet. And I know they're going to be like, oh, no. I just gave you Babylonian. The Babylonian languages come from Hamitic people. Nimrod was a Hamite. Did y'all forget this? He's a descendant of Ham, Cami. And I just played you the language of the Sumerians. And yet they calling us Hamites. And it didn't even sound like the Sumerian language that's supposed to be for Hamite people, speaking how we speak. Did it? Or does it? I'm telling you, man, it's going to be over. The Most High going to expose so many things. People are going to find out the hard way. And yes, we have a lot of Judas goats even among our own people. Way too many to be exact. Because you got all these Bantu tribes praying to the God of Israel, and that language sounds completely Hamitic. I gave you the different versions, and they all sound similar to each other like Hamitic people. Then how are we the Hamitic people? I can't even get this thing to tell me. Let me tell you how I know we're being deceived. I'm looking up what was the. I'm gonna tell you right now how I know we're being robbed. What language did Gog and Magog speak? This is what it says: Gog and Magog, Yajuj, Emijuj, and I put Magog and Magog in the thing. It says that's not a tribe. It's the language of the Southern Africa. It means old mothers. All they did was take off the O. I'm telling you, so you don't catch it. Now watch this. Gog and Magog, Yajuj and Majuj, which is what they say in Quran, Arabic, are depicted as Abrahamic tradition as apocalyptic, non-human, or distant tribes rather than a nation with regarding to language. Okay, so they didn't speak anything? Key details regarding God and nature, scarcely understood. Now watch this. Scarcely understood tongue. Could that sound like a Neanderthal speech? The Quranic narrative, the Surah Al-Kahf, okay, mentions the Dul Karami, meets people who spoke a language nearly incomprehensible to others, suggesting and Gog and Magog spoke the same obscure, isolated language. Okay, but yet Gog and Gogol, God comes from the Ashkenazi Jews, right? And yet their language was incomprehensible, but they served a God that knows how to speak all languages. I'm just saying, while the names derive from Hebrew, Gog Magog, or Arabic, Yajuj and Majuj, and languages spoke, but it don't tell you what it means. We're going to look at what it means. So then we're going to do what language did Japheth speak? According to biblical traditions, Japheth and his family spoke the original language of humanity prior to the Tower of Babel. I just played for you Sumerian language. Does that even, and it's a Hamitic tribes, does that even sound anywhere remotely close? Okay? I showed you Assyrian Aramaic sounds just like Phoenician language. So then what is the original language? If the Banabetu of Isolde are speaking Hamitic tribe language, then why doesn't it sound like the Sumerians? If the Bantu people are speaking Hamitic languages, then why does their language not sound similar to the Sumerians? Boy, people, you're going to find out. Okay? What language did Gomer speak? Gomer, the wife of the prophet Hosea. Gomer, descendant of Japheth, speak. Gomer, the son of Japheth and the grandson of Noah, is traditionally identified as the ancestor of the Sumerians. Cimmeri, Gemira in Assyrian text, and various Indo-European peoples settling in the areas from the Black Sea to Europe, which we know there's another Black Sea, but the language believed to be early Scythian or an ancient Indo-European language, which letters, this is what that lady was talking about, why the Portuguese sound like the Portuguese sound like Russian, which later separated into Celtic or Celtic, Germanic, and Armenian branches. Man, if you guys can't wake up that this all is a war with Japheth and his brothers affiliated to the worship of the pagan gods of the Canaanites, claiming to be Tata nZambi, the Most High, by now I've given so much evidence that you have now been bamboozled because the Celtics, and then Rome going to come preaching them who? When they went from the Roman Empire that fell and came back as Christianity, why are they not pronouncing the Messiah's name like the Hebrews did at that point? Like how the Hebrews were pronouncing it. Okay? Now, some traditions argue Gomer's descendants moved into Europe and became the ancestors of the Celts and Welsh. Okay, where is the Welsh at? And the antique claim that Welsh were related to Hebrew and sometimes called Gomaric. Other interpreters invented Gomer's sons, Ashkenaz and Togarmah, with the Ashkenaz and Togarmah with the ancestors of Germanic Ashkenaz and Armenian peoples, suggesting those Indo-European branches. Boy, if y'all don't, woo, right there, right there. Indo-Anthropoid Gomer descendants are generally categorized as Euro-Indian migrating to the north and west of Israel. Now there was two locations of Israel. There was the north, there was the up in the Canaanite region there, and there was sub-Saharan Africa, and they know that. We had both places because they lying. That's where we went after the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Moab. Gonna find out. That's not where the original temple was. Because the Catholic Church, and I'm not even, like I said, I'm not even gonna get into what that guy did. But they put a church right there in Angola, and they marked it where they said this is where they crucified Masinisi. So then nobody can replace him. So everybody gonna keep getting deceived by magic. The people doing magic and talking to false spirits and think that they're the most high and they're not. Quatulendo himself is Masindisi Fuma Yesui of the Father himself, Tata nZambi. Fuma Yesui is Quatulendo like Tata nZambi. He has not have anybody replacing him. Kimbangu and Toko and everybody who followed him never said they replaced that guy. Never. They said they worked for him. That's why it says it's the Garma, son of Gomer, son of Japheth, Thor. Because that's the Vikings. Connected to Hudo. That's how Tammuz showed up as man. Because Tammuz was the god of thunder. Yes, he was. Tammuz was the god of thunder. Let's see if we're going to trip it up. I'm done. I'm going to tell you, they're going to play games. It says he is known as the god, as deity of fertility, vegetation, agriculture, and cycle of life and death, closely associated with shepherds and myths, death, and resurrection. And his myth centers on death and resurrection. It's a myth. Oh, so that didn't happen in Mesopotamia. It never happened. See, no. It's a myth now. Oh, it's a myth. But yet, it was celebrated by the Egyptians. It was celebrated by Babylonians. It was even celebrated by the Romans before Christianity. Because Apollo and Tammuz are the same. I'm going to tell you, they call, see, what did the Romans call Tammuz equivalent? The Romans generally identified the Mesopotamian god Tammuz with the Greek god Adonis as a dying and rising deity representing seasonal vegetation. Adonis was adopted into Roman culture and mythology, often lived with the Venus Aphrodite and celebrated spring rites to commemorate his death and resurrection. So if it's mythology from Mesopotamia, why are the Romans in that time also adopting it? This is when you mix pagan and non-pagan together, like I told you, that's what you're celebrating. You think I'm joking? It changes every year. Last year, when was Easter? The year before that, when was Easter? But yet Passover is every single time the same. The Passover of the people, the small hats, I'm gonna call them that, it changes every single year. It's now going to be next week, but last year it was in middle of April. And yet the scriptures say Passover is 14 days after the New Year. Christians celebrate the New Year in January. So that means, according to Leviticus, your past Easter should be in January, according to Leviticus. You don't even know that Rome moved Christmas Day during 339 AD from March 25th to December 25th. Oh, but you got it right. You can look it up. What date was Christmas in 339 before 300 AD? It was the 25th of March, which is affiliated with the first day of spring. And it was called the Ascension. It was called, they had a name for it. Why did Rome push it back? Why did Rome, under Constantine, say we moving Christmas, Kwanzaa Tata nZambi, was what we called it, back to December? Man, if y'all don't get it by now, that you have been fooled by so many people, I can't help you. Christmas Day was March 25th, 1,500 years ago, because they already knew he was born in the spring. But then when you mixed it with the pagan and non-pagan, and they switched it from the actual cycle that we went by according to the correct, and they flipped it upside down and went backwards according to the Gregorian, and all it was spinning, and they teach it now Mesopotamia and stuff about we going around some Yaza, which is what Nimrod was praying to, and they said he joined up when he died with the sun because Semyaza was cursed to be up in the heavens for his judgment. Now you're going to rotate around him. That's why they had to go make another one when he came down. You're going to find out. This is for educated purpose only. There's a patent for a sun from NASA. A solar simulation from NASA in the 1960s. Why would they need to do that? You can look it up. They got it on there. They have a patent that they filed with the patent office for a simulated sun. Why? Why would they need to do that? And it was huge. It wasn't small. Very large. All right. Zola Quingi, Sambololo, Inawezi Yabe Kongo Kutwala, Ingeta. Oh, and then China said, we launched the sun too. Y'all remember that? Why is it so hot now? Ingeta.